Okay.
Okay, so I pretty much had the titles on each PowerPoint, so we can just get it started and go from behavior to behavior and knock it out pretty quickly.
Okay.
And I assume this is what we need to do, and then we'll like print it off in a notes form,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And then they can have a hard copy to go through it with us.
For each presentation that we do?
Yeah.
Okay.
You think that's doable?
A copy of the PowerPoint, I think so.
Yeah. Because it's not going to be many, so if we do slides of 3, it should be like maybe just like 2 pages front to back.
That works.
And then they can follow along. Okay, so tell me, this stuff can get taken out. I was just trying to think of what we need to do. So
Okay.
essentially the first slide was the objectives, what we talked about already. So the strategies we can use in our classroom for the most common behavior issues. Better understanding about the process to correct the behavior. A better understanding of our behavior classroom. Is that what it's still called?
A behavior unit.
So not behavior classroom.
No, we can call it the behavior unit because that's what we've been told
to call it now.
Mm-hmm. And then also put in the BIPs. Is that
put in the BIPs
like
too?
Any paperwork that we do
instead of behavior classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good to know. And then how to properly utilize your facilitated support. And then I also added, speaking of BIPs, after the 4th behavior, so once we're done talking about the behaviors, I also added a slide where we can talk about looking at the BIP for help, and I thought we could maybe like snippet an example of a BIP that Monica wrote,
Mm-hmm.
black out the kid's name, and teach them how to read them.
Yes.
Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, because we're going to have, they talked about it like we had a whole bunch of time, but I think we're going to be needing more stuff to talk about because what is it going to be, 45 minutes? And that's going to help them a lot.
And I'm going to also bet we're probably going to have a lot of questions too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll be full. Okay, so behavior 1.
Where that list we talked about was...
shoot, I don't know. Non-compliance.
Okay.
Shoot, did I delete it? Okay, so compliance was 1.
Work refusal.
Yes. Hold on. Because weren't we going to put them in order from least severe to most severe,
Mm-hmm.
and how they build up? So it was work refusal, inappropriate language, non-compliance, because that's not just work, that's also, refusing to go sit down, refusing to be quiet. That's not how you spell compliance.
Did we talk about horseplay? That would be
no, but that's not a bad one to at least use under this.
I had to write a referral the other day for that.
For horseplay?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Is that a drop down?
It is actually, and it's in there as horseplay.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find it. I think I deleted it, but we need to probably go back to it again. I don't even know what it would have been called. Dang it, what was the other one we talked about?
Work refusal, improper language, non-compliance.
Okay, so our 4th one was student conflicts.
Okay.
So fighting, yeah. I assume that's what we meant by that.
Yeah, because we were talking about like that instance that you had in your classroom a couple weeks ago with the one that we wouldn't ever expect it from.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the first one would more than likely be work refusal, right?
Right.
Than non-compliance, because that's a bigger
Mhm.
scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
Inappropriate language and student conflicts, because that's the big
The
one.
student conflict, yes.
Okay, so behavior 1 would be work refusal. And I guess is that what we want to do straight up, just right
Yeah.
like that? Okay.
Because in that way they'll see that and they'll be able to relate to it real
They'll
quick.
understand what we're talking about. Okay. So now, what are we wanting to do here?
Well, we could break it down as to where you talk about how you handle it in an inclusion room, and we talk about how we handle it in the behavior unit.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to talk about, like, well, on this one we don't necessarily have to talk about what it looks like, because they should know what work refusal looks like.
Right.
So it's pretty much just how they're going to deal with it?
Yeah, and it could just be a brief, each scenario we just kind of present, like, we know what we're talking about here. Little Johnny doesn't want to do his work, plain and simple.
Yeah.
And then take it from there.
And then how do we deal with it? Okay, so then here I could just write, could I just put like how we deal with this behavior?
We could use it. We could
in a
do it as
Gen Ed
like
classroom?
we can do it as like notes. We could put in bold letters inclusion classroom,
There it is. Okay.
and then we would talk about it.
There we go.
Whatever keywords is going to make you remember what you
General
need to
ed
say.
classroom.
Yes.
Okay. And then here we could put like what it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to do that? Like points?
We could, if anything, it's going to help us
remember what it is.
Mm-hmm. And then it'll also, if they're taking it with them to their classroom, it'll kind of be as a reminder.
They can use it.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be using things that
broad
are
terms that they can relate to.
Yes, and things off the BIP.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, even though all the kids don't have BIPs that we
Right.
would use this on.
Right.
They sometimes have on their accommodations.
Yeah.
So, like using the redirect to task.
Mm-hmm.
So if we write that, what I'm trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys are going to help me do this because y'all are better at this, is I think the teachers have a problem with they don't understand the lingo of SPED.
Right.
So when they see those accommodations, they have no clue what they truly mean or
Mm-hmm.
like what it is in real life. So
Yeah.
if we can use those words
And put it in terms that they're going to see.
and then explain how that looks,
Okay. So
maybe that will
yeah.
help. Redirect to task. Okay. And then we could just talk about what that would look like,
Mm-hmm.
how often you do it. Because I think that's sometimes a problem too.
Yeah.
It's like what you were saying the
What-
other day,
yeah.
just beating a dead horse.
Right. And we got to emphasize that redirect to task can be just as simple like, Johnny, pay attention to your worksheet.
Can you? Yeah.
Or Johnny, make sure you're taking notes.
Yeah.
And not like stopping a lesson to,
To redirect.
Mm-hmm. Or you type as simple as, please take notes.
And then we could talk about with that one how using your facilitated support is big on that.
Mm-hmm.
That is, we should be doing a lot of that.
Right. And yeah,
for
that's
them.
true. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't even have to, if a teacher's instruction, they shouldn't even have to.
You're right. Do that.
And then, so the next step, if you're thinking about the BIP, the first one would be redirect to task. The second one, the next step in that one, I guess, would be a second reminder if needed.
Yeah. Or yeah, we could just put here like how many redirects? How many reminders?
Yeah.
And when I've talked to Ram about that before for some other kids, he said like no more than 4.
Yeah.
Does that seem reasonable? I mean, sometimes it's 12, a class period for some kids. They don't get bothered by me.
Yeah, for the whole class period, yeah. I'd say 4 works.
Yeah.
But I also think it's going to be, and we can say that it's going to be their discretion. Is it like 4 back to back to back, or is it like for
spread out?
Yeah. Are they doing work for 5 minutes, then stopping, then redirecting them, then stopping, and so forth?
So I would put, let's put at least 4.
Yeah. Because if they're having to do that, that means the redirect is actually working.
Yeah.
If they're
actually going back to working. And if not, if they just, you redirect them and they still have not done it,
then that's move
4
on.
times, move on to another kid that is working. Okay. We can redo this too later to make it simple.
And see, this one's going to be more of the general education because they're, we've emphasized to them that PACES isn't a workroom. So this is going to be more like general ed classroom.
The work refusal, yeah.
Now we have our full-timers in there, but that's handled completely.
You guys are different. So, I mean, do we even have to do
behavior
unit?
We can put behavior unit
like
and like handled a little, just put like, we could put handled a little differently, and then that's when me and Ram can go into our explanation of it. And then, this is one of those where you put, who is it just, keep it to where it's just affecting their grade. So-and-so doesn't do their work, it's their grade. If you make a scene out of it and keep redirecting them to the point where they're getting agitated, then you're affecting the grades of everybody else.
Yeah.
So you want to add something like that.
Say it again.
If you put a note that just says, we are trying to affect only one person's grade. And then, of course, we can go into a positive route too. You're either trying to help this person raise their grade, or they're going to hurt their own grade.
And then that's it.
That's it.
We're not going to
affect the others.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to, so when we do BIPs on work refusal, I'm trying to think of what we add in there, what we use. And we use the BIP, we use redirect to task.
Direct student attention to a specific part.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much just, hey, we're right here.
Check for understanding can be a big one too, because maybe they're not paying attention because they just don't get it.
Yeah.
And if the inclusion support can make sure that they're understanding it, that's going to put them back on track.
They're not going to fall behind, and then the behavior won't happen. Yeah. We'll fix that later. I'm going to put some lips behind that. Okay, and then I'll go back. The check for understanding. Okay. So what can we put here?
For check for understanding?
And just be questioning the student's knowledge.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm trying to think.
Or well, understanding, that's repetitive.
Is a lack of understanding the lesson, the issue, question mark. And then maybe that'll help us kind of. Why is this so tiny? Are you having a hard time reading this too?
There we go. Okay. What did you say is the
lack of understanding the issue for the student?
That'll work. Okay. And then we said
that behavior unit dash different process. And then that's when me and Ram can go into the, we have the luxury of, we have kiddos who don't do work at all, so we have the luxury of doing things like giving them computer time, which they wouldn't get in our normal classroom, or, cell phone time, which they're going to not get in the gen ed.
And they're in there longer, so
Yes, and we have to use our own, we have to pick our battles in there big time.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And then, so with this, because I know this is going to be a question with teachers,
Mm-hmm.
do they write them up for work refusal, or like, do they let them have their grade? Oh, that's what we need to talk about, documenting.
I think maybe start another work,
Another slide?
no, another Microsoft Word of notes, things that we've got to get with Monica, and kind of ask her. So that'd be a good one to ask her.
I was going to send this to her too and make her check it and
Perfect.
take stuff out if
Should there
She needed
be
me.
referrals for work refusal? Because I know that's one reason that the admins are just swamped right now. Because of,
like
do you need me to
stuff
check
like
that
that.
phone?
Yeah, I guess. Should there be referrals for work refusal?
Right.
That'll be a question we ask her.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you can even put under it, what should there not be referrals for, since we're just talking to her about it, and it's bringing up a point. And I know that's why admin's swamped right now, because they're dealing with things that you're like,
Shouldn't be.
yes.
And then the serious stuff is
Yes.
not first. Okay, so what should not be written up? Okay. Oh, what was I going to say here?
For
documenting.
now, yeah, and document on the work,
So-
refused.
They refuse it, take it, write on it, keep it in a file.
Yeah, so you could put, if we're doing the note bullets, put documentation dash, refused, comma, number of attempts to redirect. You know what I'm saying? What they can just write.
What they're writing.
Yes.
This is what I'm going to put here. Okay, so refused.
Mm-hmm. Number of attempts given.
Number of redirection.
Yes.
Date.
Date. Was student made aware of consequences? Because that's when I do mine. I always say student was told assignment will result in a 0.
Yeah.
And that's, And I mean, if she does say that one's kind of up for us, we could add, is the grade punishment enough?
Which I think.
Right,
I agree
do
with
too.
that.
I'm
But we
just
just have to make sure that the teachers understand if they're going to do that, they better have all the documentation to prove why that kid failed the class, because I know that's a big issue.
You could put a bullet, referral or no referral. Is the grade punishment enough?
On which one? This one?
Yeah.
Is the grade punishment enough?
And I think that will cover.
That's got to be good. And I'll clean it up later. Okay, so, and I'm sure there'll be more that we add to that or whatever.
Yeah.
Like as we're talking, it's
And then the behavior unit's going to be, it's going to be a good little explanation of our process to get them to do work when they're not doing work. What do we send to the teachers? How do we deal with, if they have extra days, well, we document we gave them those extra days and they still refuse to do it. So
yeah.
we'll have stuff to talk about the behavior unit.
And that would help teachers too, because they could probably use some of that stuff
Mm-hmm.
on the kids in their own
Mhm.
classroom if it's doable. Okay, so behavior 2 was noncompliance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you put an abbreviation or a dash there? Maybe. We'll see. Okay. Do we want to do the same thing, like what it looks like in a gen ed class and then what it looks like in the behavior unit? Do we want to keep that theme
Yeah.
rolling?
Mhm.
I don't think that's a bad idea.
I know, I don't think it is either.
Okay.
And that's going to
Okay.
benefit all teachers, even if like, let's say the pace, well, I'm pretty sure that the behavior unit teachers from the other campuses are going to be doing this presentation, but it's going to give the teachers an idea of what's going on in there when they send the students to us and kind of understand how things work.
Yeah.
So it should be beneficial to everybody.
Yeah. Are they doing ours though? They're making their own.
I think they're making their own.
Right? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so for non-compliance in the behavior classroom, what do we use and what does it look like?
Redirected task is once again.
That would need to be like the go-to. Okay. Or reminders to stay on task. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Or is it redirected task?
We can do two. We can do both. Reminders to stay at task.
Redirect and remind.
/ yeah.
Okay. Okay, redirect reminders to stay on task.
And I'm trying to think.
This one, I know in a BIP that I just did, we need to talk a lot about consistent boundaries.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a big issue with teachers. One day they will punish it, the other day they won't,
Right.
and the kids are confused, and it causes more problems.
So you can put a big highlighted "stay consistent."
Yeah.
And then that'll remind us what we're trying to get across.
Stay consistent in class rules. Let's just put that. And reminders too. Okay. And then what would be?
And then as an inclusion teacher, it's basically you can only do so much, and then it becomes an issue of, when would the gen ed teacher write a referral for any other student? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like once you as an inclusion teacher has done your part, following the BIP, following, the modifications, and that's going to be for some of these other ones too. And that's one of the biggest issues they're having.
Where's the point?
Where's the point?
Yeah.
And it becomes a point once you've done all this, these modification and accommodations that you wouldn't have to do with the gen ed student, it's write a referral as you would for everybody else.
Yeah.
So.
And helping them understand if they are refusing to use the accommodations that's given to them, then they're like any gen ed kid.
Right.
And they can get a discipline referral for them.
Because then they've evened the playing field. They've done everything that they're supposed to.
And that they're refusing that. So
refer to the BIP.
Okay.
You can put
there
that.
We go.
And then you can put example, is cool down granted to them?
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay.
Are they given
wait time?
Access to wait time? Yeah, that's another one.
Are they given access to
behavior? Now I'm thinking we're gonna have to double check if she wants behavior unit or classroom, because now my brain's going back and double checking. But are they given access to behavior unit for now? And then we could put in parentheses because they have to ask for it.
Self-initiated.
Self-initiated,
right?
Yes.
Here?
Yes.
On this one? Okay. self-initiated or choice given, right?
Mhm.
Because we can do that.
And then that's when we can go. It just cannot be like, hey, go to
now.
yes.
Yeah, you can have the choice,
Mhm.
or he's got to do it on his own, or she. Okay, so, and then we can always talk about this, or we can say while we're doing this,
Mhm.
we're going to talk about it when we further explain the BIP
Okay.
and show them what it looks like.
And then the biggest thing that we need to put in there, and I'm going to use this video as reference now that I think about it, we need to stress that when you send a kid to PACES, that's especially when they're not given the behavior unit. I think I said it one time, it's like telling a kid to go to DAP on your own because it's actually literally an out of placement. You know what I mean?
Like the teacher
Yes.
saying you go to DAP
Yes.
without going to
Right.
anybody else.
Right, and they'll be able to catch that reference real quick.
Where can I put that?
We'll put that in. I would put that in your notes that you're sending to Ms. Johnson.
What does behavior classroom what the behavior classroom actually does?
Exactly.
I'm going to put it in here, and then just so we have it.
Right. Not DAP.
And you'll remember?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I've said that like 2 times, and then you see the light bulb go off.
There it is. Okay. So we'll remember to put that in there. Keep that in that one. So refer to the BIP, school down, granted to them. Are they given wait time? And we can explain what that is, because I think some teachers are confused by that.
Yeah, and we
that
have
it means
that
like
big
give them time
legal,
to process.
Yeah. It doesn't mean, leave the classroom for 15 minutes and come back. It literally means just kind of leave them alone, let them chill out if they've got to go
Tell
to
them whatever, yeah.
If they're, it's going to be kind of their own preferences. Is there a corner in their room that they can go to, or do they just kind of...
Do they just stay at their desk, but
Yeah.
you tell them what they need to do and leave them alone for 2 minutes?
Right.
And then come back and ask them if they need more help, yeah. Now, non-compliance.
Well, the first thing we put is what is non-compliance. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, we should have done that. Well, we know what work refusal is,
Yes.
but we'll put it up there anyway.
What is non-compliance?
Okay, so how would we describe that? Or we put examples?
Yeah.
Right? Would that be best?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can we still use the word refusal, huh? When I'm thinking non-compliance, I'm thinking of my 5th period class.
Perfect.
And you tell them to sit down,
They don't.
They don't do it.
And then the biggest one's going to be stop talking.
Yes. So, refusing to sit, refusing to stay quiet. Does that sound?
Yes.
Refusing to participate.
Perfect.
Would that work?
Yep.
And that could be.
And that doesn't necessarily mean work.
Means like group work or talking or whatever. That'd be good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
If we think of any more, we can just add them.
Refusing to sit, refusing to stay quiet, refusing to participate. Yeah.
Etc.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thinking these 2 are the biggest ones: sitting and staying quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or
and
putting cell phone away.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Refusing to.
Jeez, we could do a whole slide on that.
Put away. Yes. Oh my gosh. I tell kids now, I'm like, it's an addiction. It's an addiction.
Yeah.
I think it makes them think more about it, but I don't know if they're listening. Okay, so emergency stay on task, referring to the BIP, talking about the cooldown time, wait time, behavior unit.
And then we can go into how me and Ram deal with it in the
Let's do that.
behavior unit.
So,
and then just as kind of like a bookmark to talk about it when we work on this again, I'd say, you get what you give, because that's kind of our motto in there. If you're not complying with us, we're not gonna. You got the point system. You've got, whatever they're earning, computer time and so forth. That's all getting taken away from them when they're not compliant.
Yeah. Makes sense. So you get what you give. Let me just put that on there and y'all can explain that.
Yep.
I want to try to be catchy. I want to be cooler than the other stations.
I think the title's already a good start.
You get what you give. Okay.
All right. And then we'll stop there and work on
Behavior 3.
Behavior 3, which will probably be in proper language.
Mm-hmm.
And then student conflicts will be the worst one. And then the fifth thing that we were going to do was talk about how to utilize inclusion support, correct?
And the BIP. How to read the BIP and then how to utilize
Should we do those
support.
before we go into the behaviors?
Ain't a bad idea.
I think that would be better for the order of everything.
I'll move that up and we can do the snippet tool and do that. So then it's just like these points are reminding them what we already talked about.
Yep.
That's a good idea.
All right.